Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So tonight we're going to talk about an emailed question I got, a quick history lesson on a term, and then we're going to answer it. And by we, I mean you guys, because I don't have a hard answer on this one. I mean, I do, but mine has nothing to do with the actual question at hand. So the email basically boils down to this. There's a group of people who are wanting to set up either a Facebook page or group, something that is for people in the South who are left-leaning. One of the suggested names that they came up with is Left in Dixie. If you don't know, the Dixie Chicks within the last 48 hours have dropped Dixie from their name. Now they're just the Chicks. Okay. This, of course, sparked conversation about whether or not they should use this term and whether or not the term Dixie is racist. Okay, so to answer this question, we have to know the origin of the term. There are three theories on where it came from. One of them is just trash. One to me seems less likely and one seems more likely out of the remaining two. The first theory is that there was this really nice slave owner named Dixie, and all the slaves wanted to go and work on Dixie's land, which then became Dixieland. That's not real. There's nothing to suggest that's true as far as I know, and I've looked. It doesn't even make sense that the white slave-owning population would choose to self-identify as a term that came from slaves who weren't happy at their plantations. That it just doesn't even make sense. So I don't believe that one at all. Another one is that it came from the MasonDixon line, which is the dividing line between the North and the South. And that kind of makes sense. Dixon, Dixie, I get it. However, I know that maybe from the outside, looking down here, it all looks like one thing. It's not. If you're outside of the South and you say Dixie, yeah, generally it refers to the whole South. But if you're inside the South and you say Dixie, you're really talking about a specific area: Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, where I'm at. But as you're going to find out, terms are kind of fluid down here. So it doesn't make sense to me that those states closest to the Mason-Dixon line don't really refer to themselves as Dixie, but those almost as far away as you can get do. The third theory, the one I believe, has nothing to do with any of this. It has to do with French. In Louisiana, prior to the Civil War, they printed their own banknotes, the Bank of Louisiana. They spoke French and English. On the $10 bill, it said 10 on the front, and on the back, it had 10 written in French. Dix. D-I-X. These bills were Dixies. The trade that went up and down the Mississippi River, went into New Orleans, all of this, mainly came from Mobile and up and down the Mississippi. Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. The area that we still call Dixie. That to me makes a whole lot more sense. That it came from people who were working on boats and carrying this money with them. That seems to make a whole lot more sense. Neither one of the origins is inherently really racist. They're geography things. However, that's not the end of the story. The term became popularized during the Civil War because of a song called Dixie. Oddly enough, written by a guy in Ohio, Daniel Emmett. Emmett's the last name. Maybe wrong on the first name. How would he know the term? Because of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers. People going up and down it. It makes sense. It falls into... It supports that theory a little bit more. Okay, so Emmett, did blackface. Racist, okay? However, not a Confederate. In fact, he said that if he had known the South was going to use the song, he never would have wrote it. The song was rewritten several times, one of them, most notably, by a guy named Albert Pike. You might remember that name from recent events. So when it became popular, it was definitely racist. And then it had a resurgence of use in the 1960s. Definite racist connotation there. And then you had the Dixiecrats as well. Now, as today, how it's used, it's either a geographic area, or it all depends on how it's said. If I was to say, you know, I'm in a Dixie mood tonight, that means I want to go drink shine on somebody's porch and listen to Cajun music. Nothing inherently racist about that. However, if somebody's like, you know, you in Dixie, right? That's the, yeah, there's definitely some racist undertones to that. Even the term whistling Dixie, based on context, can mean that person is over there goofing off and wasting time, that person's over there talking to a girl, or that person's in a bad mood and looking for a fight. The term is very fluid. So I don't know that I would use it, but strictly based on clarity, I have no idea whether or not the perception of it from Black Americans is racist. You're going to have to ask them, and hopefully they're going to answer in the comments section. I would like to know, actually, to be completely honest, because where I'm at on the Gulf Coast, it doesn't really get used in that manner. It really does have more to do with Cajun music and food or a certain geographic area. However, there are other parts of the South where it's going to have a different meaning. It really is very... There are certain areas that seem like entirely different countries within the South. So I'm not sure that using that term to try to market a left-leaning group is going to produce the results you want. You may get the exact opposite type of people being interested. So I can't wait to see the comments section on this one, to be honest. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.